I'm a reformed conservative myself, so I connect with him on that level, and I can empathize with his apology. So you may have heard of this guy called iDubbbz. He's been on the internet for quite a while now. I watched him growing up, and I always thought his content was fucking hilarious. Or at least I used to. He was super edgy. He said the N-word a lot. He was famous for that one Tana Monteau or whatever her name is, where he walked up to her, paid extra to like get a photo shoot with her, and said when he was up there, he put his arm around her and said, "Say." You all know what the word was. He recently came out with an apology video, and I did watch it. I watched it independently of other people, and then I watched their takes on it, and I've had mixed reactions internally about it. I kind of swung back and forth. At first, I was very much like, "Oh, this is a fantastic apology. Everything about this is great. I love it," and he's clearly being genuine about it. And then I looked at some other opinions, and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe it could have been better." One thing never changed, though, is the genuine nature of it. This is the most genuine apology that I've ever seen on YouTube. Like, bar none. Clearly he means it. Clearly he's upset about what he did. I wish that he wouldn't carry this around with him so much. Like, it seems to me like it's weighing very heavily on him, right? And that sucks. Because I don't think that he meant to create the culture that he did. I think at the time he was very stupid. He was young. He was the internet was still young, still is young for the most part, but it was very young back then. Okay. And he was just trying to make a name for himself in the most upsetting way possible. Right. When I say upsetting, I mean, he would disrupt the standard, the status quo is what I'm trying to say. And sometimes that would go from edgy into antisocial, right? Because it is very antisocial behavior to, go on camera with some girl and just say the N-word as a white person, or like even as a black person. Like, what if it had been a black guy doing it to a white girl say the N-word, right? That would still be weird. Okay? So it's not even really a race thing. It's just like kind of a what are you doing thing. Like, this is really weird. And for a long time, he says this in the video, for a long time, his mantra was, you can either say all of it or say none of it. And that was harmful because, there is a weight with the N-word, right? And so if you got a bunch of young people, and make no mistake, I was one of them, a bunch of young, impressionable, especially men, watching this guy saying the N-word and saying that it's okay to say the N-word because why not? That's not going to be the best thing that you're cooking up there. It's going to be a dubious meal of sorts that you're cooking up there, right? I never saw iDubbbz before. The funny thing to me is that so many creators are reacting to this when a lot of the audience has no idea who the hell he ever was. Sorry, if you're on YouTube, you know who iDubbbz is. That's not always going to be the case, but that's a pretty safe bet that if you have an audience on YouTube or Twitch, they know who iDubbbz is. He's very, very influential. I never heard of him until Moist Critic. Okay, well, you guys are weird, okay? Sorry that you're weird. Most people know who he is. He's the I'm gay dude. Yeah, he's the I'm gay guy, okay? And he was mostly known for his memes, which were very harmless. And these days, it's not even like offensive to post that meme in places, that GIF. It's hilarious. People love it. I'm gay, right? But where I'm going with this is, I'm a reformed conservative myself. So I connect with him on that level, and I can empathize with his apology, okay? Because I wasn't even just a conservative. You know what? I want to go a step further and talk about this. I don't talk about it a lot. I've brought it up before, but I used to be a member of r/Fat People Hate, okay? And if you don't know what r/Fat People Hate is, imagine Nazis, but like against fat people. It was really bad, okay? And I was a member there because I saw a few fat people memes and I thought they were funny. And I'm like, whoa, this is a funny place to get funny memes. And I went there daily and started to become indoctrinated. Not a good time. So I myself became verified there. I sent in literal body pictures of myself to become a verified member there so that I could shit on people whom I thought were worse than I was. That is probably the deepest rabbit hole that I've ever been down. I'm not proud of it. On top of that, I was also transphobic, so that's cool. And the reason that I'm telling you guys all this is because, first of all, just so you know, people can change, right? So if you're still on the fence about iDubbbz and what he did, as a reformed conservative myself, that was a very genuine apology where he introspected and really fought those, I guess, demons, for lack of better terms, right? And came to a better understanding of himself as someone who's done that myself, okay? I also just want to give like my 2 cents on like his internal process. I know that he brought up a time when he was on, I think, a podcast, and he was talking about the Tana Monteau thing that he did, and he was still defending it in a way, but like not nearly to the extent that he would have years prior. And so like I kind of was thinking to myself earlier, and I didn't think this all the way through, but it feels like there are certain phases of reform, and I think right now he's in the overcorrection phase of reform, okay? And I say overcorrection because I think that this apology was warranted, but I do think that he's internally overcorrecting, right? Like he is, make no mistake, he's responsible for a lot of counterculture and a lot of toxic negative behavior, right? But he's carrying a lot of unnecessary weight on himself. Clearly, he's not the same person. He's not done that kind of content in a long time. And as an influential person, he has a way of making new and better content, right? This is I don't want to say an easy fix. What's done is done. But this is a not something that he can't fix, right? Hold on, let me read this real quick. Dad, he's not a twink. His name is Lifeweaver. And it's a competitive shooter called Overwatch. It will not turn me into a fanboy. Not Nice. Anyway. Where am I going with this? I think that iDubbbz is overcorrecting. He's kind of out of that denial phase that he was doing anything wrong, and he's introspected, and now he's like overcorrecting. And I think what's going to happen gradually is he's going to kind of accept that that's what he was, that he's not that person anymore, and he's going to move on from there. If you are somebody who's watching this and you are maybe not reformed, but like you're coming out of that conservative, edgy, maybe even worse, fascist bubble, Nazi, whatever. Understand that there are going to be a lot of people trying to tell you that you can't change. And most of those people are going to come from within your own community. And that's going to hold you back. iDubbbz probably had a lot of those, especially his fans. Trying to hold him back from like real internal change. And if you're going through that as well, you're going to have those same people, especially if you're on 4chan, Discord servers, whatever weird nonsense you're into. But you can change. And we as leftists need to be willing to accept that change and move forward with it. And I think that most leftists in this instance with iDubbbz are doing that. Most of the people who seem to be upset with him actually are conservative. So that just leads to my point, right? Leads into my point. Sorry, I feel like this is all over the place, but I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'll just read the comments for a second. I think iDubbbz, from what I have seen, has dropped off the radar in a big way. This apology is both to him taking responsibility for his rhetoric and him leveraging other people's reactions to build a new audience. Yeah, I can see that. If it was Leafy, I wouldn't call it overcorrecting, but iDubbbz wasn't as bad as Leafy. I think iDubbbz made edgy content in a way that was meant to be edgy. When people like Leafy make edgy content, it is in a way to bully people. Okay? It's like this. Imagine you have two people standing next to each other, and both of them have firecrackers, right? One of them doesn't really know what he's doing with the firecracker, so he just kind of sets it off, and it makes a big boom, and you know, most people like it, but shrapnel lands on some people, and oh no, they get some arm burns, right? Or, you know, they may get a piece in their eye, or they may, you know, whatever, right? Like he handled the firework irresponsibly, but his goal was not to hurt people. It was to entertain people, right? Now take the other guy with the firework. This guy does not just light it into the sky. He very specifically does it over a group of people who are not expecting it for the express purpose of hurting them, right? Like that's the entertainment that people are getting out of it, is those people getting hurt. That's the difference between iDubbbz and Leafy. Does that make sense? Leafy, I remember I watched his content too, and he was very much trying to bully people. I think iDubbbz did so inadvertently, although with Tana, it was pretty direct. But other than Tana, I think for the most part, it was pretty inadvertent, and he wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but he's now realizing and owning the fact that he did. And I think that's good. If you don't believe in rehabilitation, you're not a leftist. Oh yeah, I guarantee there's like tiny, tiny bubbles of people who are like, well, he still did it, and that's bad, and he's a bad person, and he's ontologically bad, and we cannot accept him back into our we can't accept him because he did a bad thing once, and those are weirdos. But for the most part, the people who are mad at him are actually like his edgy conservative audience who want him to keep bullying people. Like they're the ones who saw the fireworks, and they weren't impressed by the fireworks. They were impressed by the people getting hurt by the fireworks. Does that make sense? Like they want him to keep shooting fireworks and hurting people with them. You know? Anyway, the only reason I really wanted to talk about this is because, like I said, I am a reformed conservative myself. There is a lot of introspection that goes into it. It usually happens over a long period of time. For me, it took years. I went from being conservative to like a disaffected, quote unquote, centrist to a liberal. And now actually I almost overcorrected, like I said, that overcorrection phase, right? And went down the tanky pipeline and said that, like, you know, the woke skull tanky, oh, we can't speak in place of black people, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that one. Not even once. And then I eventually kind of fell into I'm always changing, right? I'm always trying to learn things, but I fell into a more natural, settled leftist position, right? And that's kind of how reform works. It takes a while. You deny things at first, then you overcorrect when you realize what you did was wrong. And I think eventually he will forgive himself, even though he says that like he should live the rest of his life with this. I don't believe that. He'll forgive himself. And I think that he'll come out with a more, how do I want to say this? A message that doesn't seem like it's incriminating his audience, right? Because I think that's the main thing that people are upset about, like the edgelords, is that he incriminated them for liking his old content. You know, you can still like his old content. You can still think it's funny. You just have to also recognize that, like, that hurt people, you know? And it caused, he made a very big wave in counterculture, edgy counterculture, that led into Gamergate. And Gamergate was very bad, okay? You couldn't have fucking blue hair on the internet without somebody screeching that you're an SJW and, like, bullying you off the fucking website. So it was really bad, and he did contribute to that. So he does have some stuff to answer for, and he did. You know, he did, and that's good. And I wish that more people would do that. That's all I have to say about that. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. You can join my channel membership at youtube.com/AlecGunther/TTV/join for only 99 cents a month. That's less than the price of a blowjob from your mom. You can be part of the channel membership program, and you will get early access content, as well as a sweet badge next to your name and exclusive emojis in the comments that nobody else gets. Thank you again, and I will see you all in the next video.